Okay. Rohan Patel, comic book movie.
How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Good, thanks.
I'm a big fan. I love What We Do in the Shadows, and Reacher was
Oh,
awesome.
oh, thank you.
So I just wanted to ask you first, since you're playing compared to What We Do in the Shadows, this role is a lot different. So, like, how did you want to differentiate Jasper from Guillermo?
Well, they're very different in the way that Jasper is a small town boy. He wants to stay local. He doesn't like excitement. He doesn't long for any kind of big, whistles and horns. He wants to live a quiet life. And that's would be completely opposite of Guillermo. He's only familiar and living a quiet life by force. He wants to be and live a spectacular life as a vampire. He longs for that. He longs for an aspirational life, as opposed to where Jasper, he has found that he's actually very content in living in Margrave and living with his mom and having, gone to college, first generation to make it and get a degree and being a medical examiner. So they're very different in that way, where their lives have been switched by things out of their control. So I guess that's the one thing they do have in common is that their lives are not going according to plan.
Absolutely. And so, like, as the medical examiner, you get to stay out of some of like the action, but you deal with a lot of the aftermath. So, how gruesome were some of those murder scenes that you had to investigate and all that stuff? Like,
Hey,
was it something you were already ready for, or was it just something that
you're
caught you off
never
guard?
you're never ready for blood and gruesome. And I feel like with Reacher, they went above and beyond. Like, I mean, I'm used to blood, like for vampires on Shadows, where it's, I know it's a comedy, so it's like still like icky to watch and whatnot and deal with corpse. But man, with Reacher, the detail to these corpse were just insane. They were just down to the small, like the fingernails and the hair on the arms. Like it was just, if you look so closely, the freckles, even down to like the freckles on these bodies were amazing. And it's just the idea that I just keep working around dead people.
Yeah. And so like I think you've worked with Malcolm before on iZombie a couple years ago. So was that like were you guys already familiar when you started working on this show, or was that
We were
like
super
a
excited. We messaged each other, and it was just like I hadn't seen him since we worked on iZombie, and that was in Vancouver, and Reacher
Mhm.
shot in Toronto, so we were in the opposite coast. And I hadn't seen him since then. Sometimes as an actor, you take on different roles and you become friends, but you can't see each other. So it was really nice to see him on set every day, and it was nice to see a familiar face, for lack of a better word, familiar.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like so on What We Do in the Shadows, your role as Guillermo, you're like kind of looking out for all these people. But on this show, that's Alan Ritchson's job where he's like the lead actor and he has to do all this stuff. So as a lead actor, like what did you observe about him that was special? I know he's had some bad experiences on previous sets. And so it's like I'm sure he wanted to like lead by example. So what was it like working with him?
Well, that was the reason I came on to the show, because they needed someone to be the handsome guy. So then they already had cast him, and I was just like, what an uggo. So I was like, fine, I'll do it. I'll do the show. And so I taught him a couple of things, and I just taught him how to model mostly, and how to look stoic. Which it took him some time, so I can see why he's had a bad time in the past with other productions. But he seemed really happy on ours, so I don't want to give myself credit for that, but I don't know how to finish that sentence.
Complete. Yeah, good. And so, and you're also working closely with Willa as Roscoe.
Mhm.
So, what was the experience like? Because they're all three of the actors have different energy, and they all come to you for like these pivotal scenes that like set them on to the next part of the mystery and unraveling. So, what was it like working with her?
Well, it was great. We actually had a friend in common because she moved into my friend Perry's apartment. Perry, who's the lead on a show called In the Dark, they're mutual friends and we're friends. So it was funny because she moved into her apartment in Toronto. So she's like, "Oh, you're gonna work with my friend Willa?" And I was like, "Oh, on Reacher, yeah." She's taking over my apartment. So that was kind of the icebreaker. So when I met her on set, I was like, "You're the new apartment person." And she was like, "Yeah." And she was lovely and great, and known of her work and stuff. So it was great to work with her.
Awesome. And like, so you do get to step out of the action, but were you trying to pitch yourself some action scenes possibly? Because they do take some deviations from the book. So, did you want to get in on the action? Or were you happy just kind of being hands
I
off on this one?
I kind of did a little bit, but then I realized that it wouldn't make sense for Jasper to be in that. And I get to do my own action on Shadows more than
Yeah.
enough. So jumping out of three-story windows in Shadows has told me that you don't have to do it all the time. Once in a while is fun, but it was fun because you get to see the action they get, and it's so good. And the stunt work and the work they do is so amazing that it does make you like a little envious and totally FOMO. You're just like, I want to punch someone.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, the whole show has like this very it feels very cinematic, like it was like you're watching a movie almost. So were you familiar with? Had you read the book prior to, or like watched the Tom Cruise movies, or did you want to go in as fresh as possible?
I had seen the Tom Cruise movies, and I hadn't read the books, but I was familiar with them. And I tried not to like get persuaded by the book itself. Even when I did Magicians, I read the
Mm,
books afterwards because I don't want to be, uh, put into a mindset of like this is what the character is. So if you read the description of the character and whatever you feel that embodies, that's what you'll present, and either that's what the character is or it's not. You can look
mhm.
for clues and whatnot. But I did the same thing for Shadows because Shadows was a film before. Never saw the film before I auditioned for Shadows, and never saw or never read the books for Magicians or for Reacher until after, because I don't want to be, kind of infiltrated with like, oh no, you're gonna do it wrong if you don't do it this way. So
Yeah,
that's my personal thing. But it worked out because here we are.
yeah, no, that's awesome. I know that makes perfect sense too. And so, like, what we do in the shadow, I mean, shadows obviously, you were able to show the world like what you're capable of. So, what kind of roles are like interesting to you now, like as you enter this next phase of your career? It's like you're doing Reacher, and it's like these are bigger and bigger projects. So, like, what's next on the docket for
Yeah,
you?
that's a good question. I think I want to do more something different that you would not expect from me. So maybe like a superhero or something like
Hmm.
that, DC, Marvel or something, and or something completely different that you would not expect from the characters I play, like a serial killer. Maybe I come back
Yeah,
to Reacher and do serial killer. Who knows? Something different. I like to play different roles and put on different hats. So I'm always up for a challenge.
so, and so like I don't want to get you off topic or anything, but I don't know if you've started work on season 4 yet, or what can you like tease about season 4? What's next for Guillermo and the gang?
We actually completed season 4 already, so it's already in the can. It's being edited now.
Okay.
So you will be seeing season 4 later this year. I went from season 3, which shot last year January through May, and then I
Hmm.
shot Reacher end of May through July, and then I went back to Shadows in August. So
Okay, okay.
a month of break in between, but it was a year full of season 3 of Shadows, season 1 of Reacher, and season 4 of Shadows. So it was a full 2021. And so it should be
Yeah.
coming out later this year. So you don't have to wait too long.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I can't wait for that. That show's so funny. So like, yeah, now you're done. Reacher's about to come out in a couple weeks. The Shadows obviously is coming. So what else is like? What are you like? Are you working on something right now? Are you working on creating your own stuff, or you're trying to find like the next project that challenges you in a different way than these two roles have?
Yeah, I'm trying different things. Like I said, I'm putting on different hats. Let's just say I'm working on something that's more animated.
Mm.
That includes, a cat, maybe perhaps in boots. And perhaps it also includes Latinx legends, from the original. So I'll let you be, a detective and put those together.
Awesome. Hopefully, I can talk to you again for that. But yeah, Harvey, this has been so great. It's been really cool to meet you, and thank you so much for that. Congratulations on Reacher. So it's just an awesome show. I'm pretty sure everyone's gonna love it.
Thank you so much. It's a great show. Thank you.
Thank